In my opinion, the throw-in is one of the keys to playing top-level disc golf valley. Throw-in, I'm talking about up to 200 feet, maybe even a little bit more. Everybody has a different style or a different method for throw-in. My method is really, really simple, so I thought I would take a minute to describe that. I'll describe it quickly, and then I can show some examples, and you can stick around for those if you want. This isn't scripted, not edited in any way. I'm just gonna throw out here, and then I'll tell you what I do. So, 86 footer. So, first of all, I always throw in with an accurate windbreak fuse. And I always throw in backhand. So no using my putter, no using the harp, no switching to forehand, just very simple, accurate windbreak fuse, backhand. So then the second thing is my aim point. I take the bottom chevron and aim it at the middle of the band. All right. I do adjust for wind. When I adjust for wind, I tend to adjust the aim point for wind, not my pullback for wind. So in this case, because it's a 2 wind, I'm going to aim just a little bit to the right. And then finally, for power, I use the Wi-Fi bands, and each Wi-Fi band is 100 feet. So if I want a 100 footer, I put the top of the disc in the middle of that first Wi-Fi band. 200 footer is the top of the disc in the middle of the second Wi-Fi band. Max range for this disc is about 250, and you can see the last Wi-Fi band about splits the disc, splitting the disc here. So you can look at this one two ways for 150. Either the top of the disc is halfway between the Wi-Fi bands, or the Wi-Fi band is splitting the disc in half. And it's the same all the way down. So if I want a 50 footer, I just put the Wi-Fi band splitting the disc. All right. So for an 86 footer, I'm going to be, I look at this as about 90. So that's maybe about 85. A lot of this comes with experience and so forth. And then I wait for the sway. And the sway is that camera movement, slowly moving back and forth. So that's it. That's the explanation of what I do. There's a lot of subtleties, a lot of nuance, a lot of experience. There's uphill, downhill. There's how wind affects it. I'll talk a little bit about that in this video. But if you just wanted the basics, that's it. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about uphill, downhill, and wind. Wonder if I could get... Well, doesn't really matter. I was going to go up the side hill here. Anyway, if I'm... Sorry, wrong disc. If I'm downhill, I'm going to aim below the band a little bit. If I'm uphill, if I'm shooting uphill, I'm going to aim above the band a little bit. So, can I show that? I don't know if I can get this to stick up on the hill. No, that's terrible. So anyway, again, if I'm shooting down at the basket, so I'm shooting downhill, I'm going to aim down. And if I'm shooting uphill, I'm going to aim above the basket. So the next thing is wind. So for wind, if it's a 3 wind, I'm going to aim about the bottom of the band or underneath the band. If it's a 4 wind, I'm going to come down like almost halfway down the chains. And that is for a headwind or a side wind. For a tailwind, I do adjust a little bit, but not as much as for a headwind or a side wind. So that's the basics of uphill, downhill, and wind. Let me see if I could go just quickly out to windswept and see if I can get an example of that. So windswept. So we'll have a good 4 wind here. So I'm just going to throw something out to the left here. Wow, that's a little farther away than I wanted to be for this example, but 85 footer, it's a headwind, so I'm going to aim way down in the chains, and I'm off to the left because of the left to right wind. So then in addition to aiming down for 3 and 4 winds, I'm also going to take some power off of it. So I'm going to go like maybe 75 power, something like that, and then wait for that sway. And, waiting for the sway, that just comes with experience. I wish I could tell you more about where I line it up, but it really, I want it to be approximately where I'm aiming, left to right. But as far as up, down, it's kind of more of a feel thing. So anyway, if you have questions, let me know in the comments. Maybe I make a longer one of these later, but I just wanted to quickly get my methodology out there about the Wi-Fi bands being 100 and 200, and always using a fuse, always always doing backhand, and then the slight adjustments for wind and for uphill, downhill. That's it. Thanks.